Now when you're going for an interview, what's the first thing you do? You prepare. You prepare for an interview, right? Especially third year students who are going to go and start maybe appearing for interviews as soon as you finish college, right? There are few things you need to prepare before you go for an interview. One is resume. Have you guys ever prepared your own resume, made? Looks good? Happy? Not happy, happy? Not happy? Happy? Everybody just shaking heads. See, if you really ask me, you guys will have a very nice basic resume. Instead of telling you things, somebody who has really worked for 5 years, 7 years, no, they really need to have a very flowery language, and I will share some tips on resume. But for you who's starting your career, you just need to have a basic resume. But I will still cover a couple of important things that you should have in your resume. And if you don't have today, please add that. Okay? So number one, when we are going for an interview, it's resume. Correct? CV. What is the second thing that you should know about the company that you are going for an interview? Right? So if you are going for an interview, for example, in Amazon, what do you think you should know? Basic information about Amazon. What is basic information about Amazon? What do you mean by basic information? What it deals with. What industry is Amazon part of? Right? What industry is Amazon part of? Online shopping, e-commerce, right? So I will read a little bit on how e-commerce industry works. Okay? This is part of the e-commerce industry. How is e-commerce industry growing in India? Fantastic, right? It's going very well. Everybody's growing. Who are the competition for Amazon? Super. Flipkart is a big competition for Amazon. Which is the third one? Snapdeal is a big competition, exactly. Which is the fourth one? Jabong is. Which is the fifth one? Myntra. Myntra and Flipkart are one now, by the way. eBay. Zogi. Yeah. Then there is a huge list, right? Well, starting from Food Panda to everything will come under that, right? But the big ones are Flipkarts and Snapdeals. Correct? These are the competitors for Amazon. Now you will find out how long have they been in Amazon been in India, right? How many employees maybe do they have? How many locations are they spread in India? Generally know a little bit about Amazon, right? So what happens in Amazon? You go, you look at a product, you make a purchase, the product comes home. That's pretty much it, right? So you understand the life cycle of how an e-commerce business works, right? And I have given you an example of Amazon. But no matter which company you go for an interview for, doesn't matter, whichever company, you have to do a little bit of research, right? Now it's a big advantage, right? We have Google. We have Google for everything. So getting information about any company is a matter of seconds. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Very easy. There was a time, I think Google started in 98 and we graduated in 2000, but the internet was not so big. So the only way we could find out anything about a company was we would ask somebody who was working there, "Bhai, ye company kaisi hai? Is this a good organization?" And he would say, "Ha, I'm working here, it is good, come, give an interview." That's the only way. And you would hardly know anything about the industry. But today, you want to know how many people are working in Amazon, you want to know what is their turnover, you can know everything about an organization. Correct? Now, when you go for an interview and you know the company's details, and especially if the person on the other side knows that you have actually done a little bit of research to find out how the company does, what does it show? Your skill or your behavior? Louder? Behavior? Attitude? What attitude? Sorry? Industry. The attitude it shows is that you are serious about this job. And if you are serious about this job, is the reason why you have actually taken efforts to do this research. Right? So if I walk in and I say, you know what Amazon does? And I said, no. Versus a person who knows little bit about Amazon. He will say, yeah, this guy has actually done little bit of research and came. He has just not landed up for an interview. Right? That shows that he is much more serious about a job than the other fellow. So even if the other fellow has skills, this guy has a better attitude. I'll hire him. Right? Because eventually they are checking skills and behavior / attitude. So wherever he gets a tick, the chances of you getting hired is higher. Amazon, question asked, responded, preparation, tick. Positive, good. Chances of you getting hired, higher. Third one, what is the employer looking for? So usually they tell you, what is the position. So it could be anything in Amazon. It could be somebody who deals with a dealer, somebody who deals with somebody who wants to put a product. It could be anything. So you kind of find out what is the position for, right? And you obviously go a little bit prepared. So if it's customer service, if it's this, if this, that, what is the kind of role, you kind of do a preparation. Do a next. What is the other thing you do? You dress well. What's the definition of dressing well? Sorry? Formals. You have to wear formals? Not necessary. Who thinks formals is necessary? Raise your hands. Higher. Raise, high. 1, 2, 3. You're not sure? 4. Only 4 people think formals is necessary. Rest all don't? Or rest all don't know? Don't know? How many of you don't know? Raise high. How many of you don't know that formals is necessary or casuals is okay? How many of you don't want to raise your hands? Has to be some option, no? Okay, so now I think the industry has really evolved. The job markets have evolved. We have organizations like, a lot of organizations like Google and all that. The employees just don't wear formal clothes and come to office. They wear pajamas, they wear shorts. They will just get up from their sleep and they'll land up. And it's considered cool. It's okay. Right? There are companies like that. Lots of them, I know. But when you're going for an interview, you really don't know what is the culture in that organization. So while Google might be okay for you to dress up very casually, other companies might not. Right? So which is the safest option? That becomes a safer option. So suppose a company which is very, very formal and you walk in your toned jeans and t-shirt, right? The chances of you not getting hired is very, very high. And let's flip it. If it's an organization which encourages not so formal dressing, but you still land up in formal clothes, is that a bad thing? It will never be considered a bad thing. Never. But if it's the other way, it will be. And obviously you won't get hired. Right? So no matter what interview you are going for, at least for next 5 years, I can say, I don't know what happens after 5 years. If you're going for an interview, wear formals and go. That also shows attitude. That shows seriousness about the job that you want. Right? इंटरव्यूज में तो एक बार फॉर्मल पहन ही सकते हैं ना, है कि नहीं? So it's a 1 hour discussion maybe. Wear formals and go. You'll be much safer that way. rather than taking a risk with casuals. If I see somebody not wearing formals, the chances of me hiring that person is not even 0.1%. And people will be different, right? It's not that I don't appreciate casual clothes. I do. I would love to be wearing my jeans and t-shirt. But when somebody is going for an important assignment, I want them to be dressed well. It's okay to be a little overdressed, that's fine. Don't be under. Right? And that also shows the seriousness that you have. What is the next thing that you prepare? What do you mean by logistics? What do you mean by logistics? What time is the interview? When is the interview? So if the interview starts at 10 and you suppose the interview happens in Fatima Nagar, you are staying somewhere in Kondwa. How much time would it take for me to get here? Do I know the address exactly, or I have a fair idea? If I have a fair idea, I should leave my house 15 minutes earlier because I would not know whether I'll find a place in the first instance. Because no matter what happens, if the interview is at 10, you should try to be there by 9:45, not later than that, right? So add buffers, never be late for an interview, never. It's okay if you come 15-20 minutes early. Why you should not be late for an interview? Because that shows, so between the two, skills and behavior, it shows a bad behavior, it shows a bad attitude. So if an interviewer knows that you are come late for an interview, he will not be very thrilled. Because he's putting a tick, right? Skills tick, behavior tick, late, behavior cross. He'll put a cross. This person has come in late. So I will obviously talk to the person and do an interview, but it will be there somewhere, late for the interview. If it's coming late for the interview, what if she starts or he starts coming late for the job? That's a bigger problem. Abhi job bhi nahi mila and then she's coming late or he's coming late. Milne ke baad kya hoga? So, cross. Then the last thing, right? The recruitment process has really evolved. Now, it's not only about interview. You do a psychometric test, you do a logical reasoning test, you do a personality index test. There are a lot of tests which happens today. So, if you have somebody already working, ask them what are the different tests I have to go through. Right? If you don't have anybody working there, find out. You will find out from, if you have the will, you can find out from anybody what are the tests. When I joined Maersk, all you see on this board is helping you to prepare for an interview, right? Yes? And preparation will help you to show the right attitude. And that enhances the chances of you getting hired. Yes or no? Okay? Fair? Fair? So next time you go for an interview after your college or whatever, focus on these aspects. Right? I'll cover a little bit on resume, not too much, because resume building itself is like a one-day session. It's difficult to cover that in a short span of time, but I'll give you some pointers which are important. And especially for you who are just learning today or part of a college, you will not have a very long 2-page resume, right? It will be a very simple resume. But I'll try to cover what you can enhance in your resume, if at all.